Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in. And as you can see, here are some books that I have. I don't have very many of them, but these are the ones that I have. These are the books that are out of print as of today. And I have touched base on these a little bit. The last video that I did, boy, my email has been a little bit of a firestorm. I've had one or two people helping me out, but boy, did this cause a lot of stir. And I just got another email today that apparently there's a little bit of a stir going on other social medias. I know I keep saying this. I need to get an Instagram account. And you know what? I've got a home remodeling project that is going to take over my life for the next 6 weeks. As soon as I'm done that, or through all of that, I am going to sit down and I'm going to learn how to set up an Instagram. I promise I'm going to do it. I just need to do it because I know that's the way everybody prefers to communicate. So with this being said, the last month or so, I've been talking about out of print books. So I've got Jewelry Box. It's now out of print. This is Seasons, the Dutch version. It's out of print. This is the Ink House. It is out of print. I have Fairies in Dreamland out of print. And then the highly coveted for me, Mermaids in Paradise. So these are the books that I have that are out of print. And like I said, the last couple ones, I know everybody's been very interested. What's going on, like especially on this one, because this is the one that just went out of print. And you can still find it. It's not nearly as expensive. The other one that's out of print, and I don't have it, is Sprit Animal. So if I had it, it would be right here, Sprit Animal. You can go on to third-party sites. And Sprit Animal, I've seen it as anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to $3,000. Seasons, it's like $1,000 if you want that one right now. I haven't looked to see what Ink House is. I don't really see it pop up that much. Let's see. Fairies in Dreamland, I think I saw it. I think it was like $60. And then the Mermaids in Paradise, oh my gosh, they are like $300. But I mean, it ebbs and flows. So how do you find out of print books? I'm going to address that at the end, because right now what I want to address is, what is an out of print book? How does it happen? Why does it happen? Who makes it happen? And how can you get it to not happen or get it back from happening? Which kind of reminds me, Fairy Tale and Folklore, that was one that had been out of print for a long time. And Color with Claire was the one that had reached out to Emily and worked with her and her people to try to get that book back. So can these books come back? Will they come back? Who have I been contacting to see if we can get these back? That's what we're going to talk about today. So it's going to be kind of a boring video because this is what we're kind of going to be looking at while I tell you what I have found out. Okay. So it started with these, the Mermaid and the Fairy, because I love both of these books. I do not have a second copy of Fairies, which I really wish that I had it, but I don't. And it just kind of is what it is. I was able to get a second copy because the other one is copied, or this one is already colored in, and the other one is a fresh brand new one. Now for that one, I have reached out to the publisher by email, and it's just been kind of a round robin, not really getting answers, not really getting any solidification on things. Basically, they're just kind of like, hey, we're sorry, you're on your own. And it doesn't seem like they care, but they don't. So what I'm doing now is every time I want to color one, I'm making a photocopy and I color on the photocopy, preserving the book that is not colored in so that I have my preserved book. Fairies in Dreamland, I think I'm going to move towards that because I am finding that I am loving the fairies a lot. Even though I've colored many in here, the ones moving forward, I'll just make a photocopy and that's it. When you have an out of print book, you can copy that. It's for your own personal use. You can do whatever it is that you want, and it is up to the people that you go to print from. So I was told by one publisher that, you know what, if the company that you go to print it from, if they just don't want to print a copyrighted book, they don't have to. But if you are if it's your book and it's for your own personal use, they can help you with it. I have one print shop. They're like, hey, that's good enough for us. The other print shop is like, no, you have to do your own prints. We're not touching it. So it's kind of up to everybody. Now, so these, I'll go to those because I know these are the hot ones right now. This one's kind of hot. I get it. But these are the biggies right here. So I reached out to Macmillan. Let's see, when did I've got it right here. So on February 1st, I sent them an email. And basically I said, I am writing to inquire about Denyse Klette's coloring books, Mermaids in Paradise and Fairies in Dreamland. Currently, these titles are out of print and only available through the used market. Do you have any plans to reprint these books? If so, do you have an estimate of when they might be available? If there are no current plans for a reprint, is there a process or a specific department I could contact to request that these be brought back into circulation? I run a very small YouTube channel dedicated to adult coloring, to the adult coloring community, and there is a significant interest amongst viewers, myself, and throughout the coloring community in purchasing and enjoying these titles again. Thank you for your time and consideration and look forward to your response. And this is the response that they sent. They were so timely. Literally, I sent this February 5th at 2:30 p.m. my time. On February 6th, the next day, by 12 p.m., so lunchtime, they responded back. And they said, "Hi, Nixie, thank you for reaching out. At this time, there are no plans to reprint these titles. We apologize for any inconvenience. If you're interested in connecting with the publisher directly, you can reach out to, and it's publicity@stmartins.com. Have a nice day, Macmillan Publishers." They were so fast. So I then sent off basically the same email to St. Martin's, and I have yet to hear back from them, and I am most likely not going to hear back. So with that being said, these do appear to be out of print. And from what I've learned from a conversation that I had with a publisher here, the word that they use, yes, they're out of print, but in their term, they call it, they've been discontinued. So these two books are discontinued. And as of February 5th, 2026, February 6th, February 6th, 2026 at 12:13 p.m., there were no plans to bring these back. And so it's kind of sad, and that's a real bummer. So sadly, if you want them, you're going to have to pay the scalped fee to get them off of the secondary market, the used secondary, whatever market you want to call it, the used secondary, whatever. So the Ink House. Now, I've not reached out, but this publisher is from, I'm not 100% sure, but it says that this book was printed in Italy. It looks like the publisher is in the United Kingdom. I didn't reach out to them because after I had reached out by email to Macmillan and to St. Martin's and then to Gibbs Smith, I figured there's really no sense in reaching out to this company. I'm sure that they are probably into the same thing. So sadly, again, the only way to get this is off the secondary market. Now we'll go through some ideas for secondary market. We'll go through some stuff. So I do not have Sprit Animal. So we'll just pretend like Sprit Animal is right here. Oops, let me get this out of the way. If I can, in editing, maybe I'll put the little picture over here so that we know what we're talking about. So these were the books that kind of started it as far as for me. This one is actually Seasons, but this is the Dutch version. And I was able to acquire this one before it totally got way, 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 way out of hand. I believe I paid, I should have written it down. I believe I paid $35 for this. I believe. It could have been $45. I'm not 100% sure. However, that is a lot better than paying like $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever. Then what happened is, if you didn't catch my last video, it was like 1 or 2 ago, jewelry box is one of my favorite. Why? Because it's jewelry and I love jewels. I love all the gems and the jewels. And this is one of my favorite books. And I had went down to color, I think it was like right before Valentine's Day. And I was struggling. I was really struggling because I was like, I'm just having a hard time coloring in this because I don't want to ruin it. And I'm trying to see if this is, oh, this is my new version. Oh, hold on. This is my new version. Hold on just a second. Oh, it's in the other. Okay, sorry. I'm actually coloring it in the other room. Okay, so I was coloring in one of the pages and I was struggling because I was like, oh, I'm not as strong a colorist that my heart, my soul, and my mind wants me to be. This is part of the problem. Okay, so you're going to park that off to the side for a little bit. But I was like, I'm just struggling. I'm just having such a hard time because I'm not enjoying this because I'm so afraid that I'm going to ruin the book. And it's not that I'm ruining it, but I'm not coloring, again, to the heart, my soul, the way I want to color. And so I went on to Amazon and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to spend $15. I'm going to buy another one. That way I can relax, cool my jets, and be like, okay, that's fine. You've got another one over here. Because I always say, and I know I say it to you guys, but it's mostly for me. When I say these things, yes, they're for you, but they're mostly for me. It's just paper. There's plenty of it out there in the world. Just find yourself some and enjoy your coloring time. Yes, that is my salutation. That is my wish and hope to you guys. But it is the mantra that is in my mind so that I will stop the perfectionist that lives inside my brain and kills the joy of everything I attempt to do in life. That's one of the secrets of Nixie. I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to not have things that look pretty, but I'm just not there. And to be quite honest with you, I might never get there. And you want to know why? Because I'm an old Nixie and I don't know when I'm not going to be around anymore. So I just need to enjoy my coloring time, and I may get there. I may not. I don't know. So I went in to get it. And guess what I found? You got it. This is out of print. I went, excuse me, what? I was like, that's impossible. I literally just bought this like 6 months ago. How could it already be out? Well, maybe not 6 months ago, whatever it was. I was like, that can't be right. So what do? We go to Google, start Googling. Google's like, yep, out of print, out of print, out of print. I'm like, what in the world? Well, as I'm Googling, all of a sudden Google says, well, go to Amazon. I'm like, well, I just came from Amazon and Amazon says it's out of print. If I can get the picture in here, I'll try. But if you go in, you know how off to the side, like you'll have here's the book. And then like over here, so this, like I'm kind of drawing, it's like right here. And it'll have like you could go here for a book, something else. Or sometimes it's like, here's the picture of the book and you come right down here and it'll say, used books here or this. So what's happening is Amazon is connecting you to a third-party shipper. So for whatever the reason was, when I went directly into Amazon, it just said out of print, but it did not show it either over here or down below. It just said, you're out of print. And I thought, well, that's interesting. But when I searched it on Google, it threw me back into Amazon. And when it threw me back into Amazon, that's when I believe it was below. I think it was beneath it. And it had something called, it's like ABA books or something like that. And I was like, huh. But it was coming through Amazon. So I thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? I'll go ahead and buy it and see if it actually works. Reason being is I had found somebody online that was selling a spirit animal. I'd been on waiting like 2 months for it. And then of course I get an email, sorry, we don't have it. Like I said, well, yeah, no joke. It took you 2 months to tell me. It took you 2 months to tell me that. So I wasn't sure. In full transparency, I paid $35 for this book. So double. I paid double for it than what the original was. $35 is an awful lot of money to pay for a book. However, I love it, I wanted it, and I bought it. Should I have bought more of them? Maybe. But I'm not one of those people where I'm going to buy a book and then just hold it back and hoard it and then try to sell it for $1,000 online. That's just not me. That's not my style. It's not how I roll. However, if you happen to be someone that rolls that way, you just roll on by. Just keep on rolling. I'm just saying for me, I only wanted enough for me to make me happy and to be able to get the book that I wanted. So hopefully that makes sense. So I got this book and I was like, okay, I was relaxing, I was coloring, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hit my mind. I'm like, you know what? I've chased Sprit Animal. Haven't been able to find that or get that one. And I may never, and that's totally fine. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, whatever. I mean, I'd love to have it, don't get me wrong, but I'm okay. I had to chase this one, and I somewhat kind of chased this one. And so I thought, okay, how many more books am I going to chase? Because when I move into these other books, I'm going to fret. And of course, I'm kind of like Noah's Ark over here. If you saw my bookcase, it should just be a big ark, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. It's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So I went in and I went through and I picked everything that it's like, if this were to go out of print or be discontinued, if this were no longer available, where would I cry? Where would I be like, oh, I want it, and I'm going to pay $35 for it? Because I'm not going to pay $35 for every book. So I went through, and that's in the last video. It was a splurge, a very big splurge, a splurge that I really shouldn't have done right now. But if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Okay, so we're off of that. Now we're going to stay here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and let you know what I found out. So I called to Gibbs and Smith. They are the publisher that in the United States, they are the ones that provide us Hanna Karlzon books. They also provide Maria Trolle books and Emily, oh gosh, I've always, Lederhaus, I think is how her name is. They produce those 3 lines for us. So how does this work? How do things go out of stock or not printed or discontinued? How do books make it through the market? I've always been curious about it. So I'm sorry that you're looking at this. I apologize. I know it's not very pretty. Just color in your books while you're listening to my voice. So I had a wonderful opportunity to speak with somebody in Gibbs Smith, or Gibbs Smith. So sorry. A lovely, lovely lady. And I kind of know this area because we have vacationed there. We had an opportunity to go back there this summer, and I didn't get a chance to go to their new location, but I wish that I could have. But at any rate, they are a lovely publisher. They do a lot for the coloring world. They do a lot for the publishing world here in the United States. So here is what I learned. I learned so much. And I know there's no way that I can impart, and deliver everything exactly the way that this wonderful lady explained to me, but I'm going to do my very, very best. So she thought I was a little bit weird, which, you know, when you talk about, oh, I'm an adult and I color in coloring books, and yeah, I spent $35 on one on the secondary market, they look at you a little side-eyed. She was very sweet. So Sprit Animal, or Soulmates, it has 2 names to it. It was discontinued in 2024. And what was really interesting is I'd never heard the name discontinued or the word discontinued. And she said, well, yes, that's what they call it in their industry. It's been discontinued. But the way it is passed down or imparted to us is out of print. So I asked her, I said, okay, so this book is the Sprit Animal. If I don't have the picture, pretend like it's like right here. I go, for Spirit Animal, it's been discontinued. Is there any way that it will ever be reprinted? And this is the sad part. She's like, well, you never say never. However, it's probably as close to never. And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. So then we went on to Seasons. After I'm telling you these books, then we'll go back to what she was saying as far as how these are printed. Seasons was also discontinued in 2024. And then Jewelry Box was discontinued in 2025. The decision to discontinue this one was 4/9 of 25, and then it officially went out in November of 2025. So that's the reason why this book jumped in price, is because it is now officially 100% discontinued. This one, she had told me the date, but I can't remember. And then she'd given me the one for Spirit Animal. But I was just writing down the year because she had so much information. I was trying to write down all the notes that I could possibly write down. Now, I asked her, I said, well, if there is really kind of like no way that these can be printed again, is there that small little chance, like, oh, what's that movie, Dumber and Dumber? So what you're saying is there's a chance. Well, that's kind of what I did to this poor lady. I'm like, okay, so you're saying there's a chance. And she was like, well, not really. And here's why. So they get the contract to print. There is... this is my word, not her. There's kind of like a hierarchy, or the way things are distributed out. So there's a hierarchy in the printing world. So when it comes to these books, the primary company that has the, I don't know what the word, the master key, the master permission, the master to print is a company called Pagina. I think it's Pagina. Pagina Group AB. And they are out of Stockholm, Sweden. And they are the ones that they contract probably, now she didn't tell me this, but kind of piecing it together a little bit. So Hanna Karlzon and Maria Tolle and Emily Liebenhaus, they create the artwork. Then they have someone that contracts out, and basically they sell the rights to a main distributor to distribute out this. Then this is why many times when Hanna Karlzon's books come out, it takes a full year for them to be able to come here to the United States, because part of that contract, the exclusivity of that contract, is Sweden, Europe, Sweden, they get it first. And it takes a full year for the United States to get it. Now, we can go in now with the ability of the internet. We can go to iMusic. We can go to Blackwell's. I think there's one more. Amazon, maybe. I think Amazon will. So you can do that. Now, you will pay the premium to do that. And that's totally okay. Like, if you want to pay the premium, you're fine. If not, here in the United States, we need to wait that year until they cycle through to us. Okay. Now, Gibbs Smith has the contract or the rights, the contract to print for these books. Once they get that contract, this is when they begin assembly and start doing this. So you can see the difference between the Dutch version. I mean, obviously they're different titles, but you can see how this one, it's just the straight book. There isn't this like a little bit of a ribbon type. Well, not ribbon, but it's a book, like a little bit of a texture. If you've never had a United States book, it's kind of hard to explain, but this is like slick over here, but there's this little bit of old-fashioned book that almost feels like a kind of like an old ribbon that's right here. So here in the United States, Gibbs Smith, they are the ones that produce this, and they're all pretty much kind of the same. Okay. Now, there is a lot that goes into a print of this book. And so this is the reason why the last three have gone out of print. Here's the number one reason. There is not enough, and I know that, hold on, people, just wait till you hear it. There's not enough books being sold to make it worth the printer to reprint these. Yep, you heard me right. There is not enough demand off of these books to be able to make it worthwhile to go and run another print. Which is kind of what I thought. It's usually like a supply and demand type of thing. So, like for the jewelry box, you know, they were giving me, she was helping me understand, and she was telling me numbers of like, you know, hey, this is what it prints. And she's like, why are you asking these questions? Like, you sound like weird or something. And I told her, I said, no, it's like people like me like to know this. And so I'm trying to understand it. So when I told you way back, if you ever watched that video, to me, it didn't seem like it would take a lot to understand how to print a book. I mean, you have to make a profit. You've got to be able to, you know, print, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, however many thousands of books that you have to print. And then not only do you have to print them, but you need to distribute them. You need to sell them. You need to move them off the shelf, and you don't want them to sit on the shelf for an extended period of time, because then that's just money that's lost. So sadly, Seasons, Jewelry Box, and Sprit Animals, these were books that were no longer selling enough to make for a printer or not a printer, pardon me, it didn't make enough for the publisher to say, hey, we need to go and print X amount of books. Now, every printer, publisher, they have minimums that have to be met. And those minimums right now can range anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000, which I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. You have to print that many, maybe even sometimes 7,000 books. These books are not cheap to make. So when you look at, say, and I'm not throwing any illustrator, I'm not throwing any publishing company. These are just facts. Okay. It's all nuts and bolts. It's all money. It's all numbers. Okay. Numbers don't lie. When you create a book like this, the cost for it is way more. If you've never had one of these books, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to go find one. It's a hardback book. For us that have had them, we know what they are. The reason why we love these books so much is it does have a pretty presentation. There is, as I call it, a preamble. This is your sense of arrival into the book. Although it is a black 2-page, it is that sense of arrival. How are you arriving into your book? And we flip it over. And now we have our presentation. Whoops. We have our first page in the book. And it just kind of walks you through. And this is expensive. This is an expensive page just to have this. But again, it is that experience. That it's the luxury. It's that luxness. It is that part that you just like, it feels so good. Like, oh, I love it. And then you come in and you have all of who's printed it, who's done what, where they're located, and then this book belongs to. And then you begin to go into the book. And then at the back, the same thing. We have the goodbye, and then we have the sense of, okay, now we're leaving the book. These are not cheap books. You have the gold foiling. I don't know if this is foiling. I don't know what to call this. I'm going to call it foiling. It's probably not the right word, but you have this metal gold foiling that's on the book, and it is just absolutely beautiful. The paper is what's really nice. If I heard her right, I believe what she said is that this paper is 150 pounds of cardstock. So that 150 pounds, that's what gives that niceness to the coloring experience that we have. She also went through and explained to me how there's a little bit of R&D. She didn't call it that, but that's what I'm calling it. There's a little bit of R&D that goes into these books. You wouldn't think that there would be. You would think, hey, you get the rights from, from Pagina. You get the rights from Pagina. You now have the rights to print. You just go and print it. Well, no. It's not quite so much. They went and they did a little bit of R&D. They went through and found paper that would give us the coloring experience that we have all been wanting. So even though it can't handle alcohol, but it can handle a lot. So like, you know how a lot of us, we love to do whatever water-based material, and there's so many of them. I mean, we have our gouaches, we have our ink tints, we have any kind of watercolor, we have King Art gels, we have gelatos. I think I said gelatos already, but you know what I mean. We have all those water mediums and it holds up pretty good. In mine, they hold up really well. You can use watercolor or water markers on here, or markers. Yeah, water markers. But the alcohol just not going to work on this, but that's okay. I don't need that. If I want to use alcohol, I'll print it. So a lot of research went into the creation of this book. This one also is hand bound. I don't know if you can see it right there or not, but it's hand bound. You can kind of see it better there. So there is a lot. Oh, I'm so sorry. If you're looking at me, sorry, I didn't mean to make you seasick. So the expense that this goes to, you have to curate all of the materials to make this. And it isn't just about the print. It's about the compressed chipboard, cardboard, whatever. Then it's the making of this piece right here, which I can't remember what she called it. You have to be able to make that and get that sealed down. It has to come and fold over, and then you put your paper down. So here's something that I asked her. I said, well, because you have to print these in whatever their bulk is, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, 15,000, however many thousands you have to do. I said, well, that makes sense that they would need to do that because Amazon right now, and she did explain Amazon a little bit to me. So there's two kinds of printing that Amazon now does. She said that, yeah, she didn't understand completely why they couldn't do smaller batches, but this is what I can figure out. Labor is very difficult to find, no matter where you are in the world. But I know that in the United States right now, in the area that I live in, they need people to work. They'll hire just about anybody. I mean, we are so desperate for labor, and it's pretty much throughout the world. Like if you saw the Woomers that I told you about, the reason why they were having a hard time getting their pencils to market was because of labor. The other thing that she and I talked about, I'm like, well, not only is it the labor, but here is where this is what I was calling it, is we have already lost. We have lost the art of art. The people who produced these books, so like this book in particular, this one was printed back in 2018. Some of her other books were printed in 2016, 15, I think she said 14 was one of them. 2014. So we're talking anywhere from 10, we'll say 10, let's just say 2016. A book that was printed back in 2016, that was 10 years ago, that book was printed. The person or persons that printed and assembled this book, they are no longer here. They have retired. And she said, yeah, there's a big bulk of people who have retired on. And that's when I just, I was like, wow, we've lost the art of art. People to have the skill set to be able to put a book together like this, it is kind of a dying art. We also, as a community, as a coloring community, we force the people into the things that we want. And that was the next thing. So we talked about Amazon, and she said that yes, Amazon does have the ability to print certain things. The one that we all know about is the KDP. It goes direct to print. So it's just that Amazon paper. That is the cheapest way to produce something. It's basically one maybe the step of printer paper, and it's a glue bound, it's just a paperback, and out it goes. In the last couple of years, and this is not to put anything to shame, it's just, again, it's just facts. Just take it for what it is. Coloring, along with every hobby, every art, everything, ebbs and flows. And right now, there is social media who is overtaking and demanding and pushing certain things. Now, this is not something that we don't know. It's not something that we haven't talked about. However, we are now past the tipping point. We have moved into such a consumered base where we are consuming more. And I'm one of them. I'll admit it. I consume. But what has happened is we no longer want to pay $15, $20, and in this case I paid $35, but we don't want to pay for this kind of book. We'd rather pay the $5 to go get a fast, cute, whatever. I'm not going to call the name because it's not that big of a deal. But we are like, wow, you know what? I could spend $15 to $20 and get one book, or I can spend the $5 to $7 and I can get 3 to 4 books. That's our consumer mindset. We do not have the appreciation or the want or the need or the desire for this type of book. Why? Because we're not buying these books. And what is crazy is that in particular for Jewelry Box, and I'm looking at my notes right now because I want to make sure I get this one right. Jewelry Box. Okay, so last year, okay, so I think it was last year in 2025, the last order that they sent out was towards the end of the year. And that was right as, so they had announced on 4/9 that they were going to discontinue it. On November 1st, it was totally discontinued. So the last shipment that they did was the end of November of last year, and they sent 24 of them out. That's all they sent, 24. And then I laughed and I told her, I said, well, to be honest with you, I think I'm the one who purchased 2 of those. I think I purchased 2 of them. I bought the one back right before they discontinued it, or before I knew that. I didn't even know it was discontinued. So I had bought mine, I think, right before that. And then I bought this one, but they only sent 24 books out. They sent it out to the prime people that would do this. And that's all they had. That was the last, because there's just not enough of us. So let's see, what else? Let me just go through really quick. Okay, they're not selling enough. The contract to print. She talked about, when they are doing the contract to print, not only are they paying for the contract to be able to print this, they have to pay for the rights and royalties. So every time a book is printed, you're paying for the right. And then every time one is sold, it's rights and royalties. So the rights and royalties come when the contract is done. So when you contract out, hey, we want to print these, then there's the right to print and the royalty that goes. And we want those royalties because that is how Hanna and Maria and Emily, all these people, this is how they support their family. This is how they put food on their table. This is how they put a roof over their head. This is how they put clothes on their body. This is how they support themselves and their family. So she did go over that, and those prices have moved up, just like everything else does. The paper is right so that you can color, on 2-sided. They went through that and they did heavy testing. They test everything. The paper, the adhesive, the color, this is called a headband. That's what this is called, a headband. I think she said the paper is wood-free or something is wood-free. I mean, she was going so fast. I was just writing things down so fast. The paper, off-white, all of these things that they go through to create this book. She was such a wealth of information. It was amazing. Now, this book, like I said, I have not talked to the publisher on this, and to be real honest, I'm just not, because why? It's going to be the same thing. But my guess is they're the same thing. They weren't selling enough of them, and nobody wants to print a book that's going to sit for a long time. And to be honest with you, Jewelry Box sat on the shelf. Oh, well, so here. So this was printed, what did I say again? So from 2018 until, we'll say, the end of 25. So it sat on the shelf for 8 years. It took them 8 years to sell through the inventory that they had printed. So if you think about it, whatever their print is, whether it's 2, 3, 5, 7, 10,000, 50, however many thousands of books they have, this book didn't sell enough. And she did give me the number, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the number, so I'm not going to say the number, but I will say this much. For the number that she gave me of how many of these they printed, for them to go 8 years sitting on the shelf was kind of sad. But it was a big reflection. I learned a lot. I mean, I really, really, really learned a lot doing this little bit of an exercise. So with those, now, this one is a little different because it is the paper version. Now, it is a little thicker, like the paper here. You know, it's a little bit, but it's not a hardcover. You know, it's not a hardcover. But again, they're faced with the very same thing. My guess would be Fairies and Dreamland and the Mermaids just sat on the shelf. They made a run, however many they printed of this. My guess would be you can print more of these just because the expense isn't as high to be able to recoup the money back. But they weren't selling enough of the Fairies, and they might not have been selling enough of the Mermaids. I don't know, because I don't know for sure. I don't want to say for sure, but here's the thing. We're either not buying it, the contract has changed, there is no new contract, the contract is ended or expired or whatever. That is why this is now a discontinued book. So with that being said, here were some of the things that, as I've gone over it the last couple of days, and today I got another email from somebody, and she and I have been going back and forth. And then this morning when I got into my emails, there were a couple more emails from people that have seen the video and wanted more information. Here are the things that I've played a role in these, like, going out. First of all, I wasn't here for this one, and I wasn't here for this one. I wasn't here for Sprit Animal. I wasn't really here for Seasons so much, but I was kind of here for Jewelry Box. I really didn't know about Hanna Karlzon till about a year ago. But I am my own worst enemy because I buy the book and I won't color in it because I'm afraid that my skill set isn't worthy enough to color on this paper. Now, I was like, wow, you know, if I had bought the book, just colored in it, enjoyed it, then go in and bought another one, colored in it. But here's the thing. How many times are we really going to color and recolor something? Probably not very often. Plus, we're always after the new. What's the new? What's the next one? And Hannah's got a brand new one that's coming out to this side of the world. It'll be over here in a year from now. I'm totally excited about it. And I bet you guys are really excited about it too, because we're going to be on a brand new adventure with brand new artwork. Yes, it's going to have her illustration. And yes, it's going to have her hand and her heart and her spirit and her joy in that book. It's a brand new book. And we as humans, we want new. We want what's next, what's new, what's bigger, what's better. But it is sometimes hard when we come back and go, oh, I really want the old too. Well, if we wanted the old, we should have kept buying the old. So it kind of is what it is. How many of these can you really put on your shelf at home? Well, for me, I've put 2. But would I put 3 or 4 or 5? Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it is hard to not have your best friend. It's hard to not go back to the books that you really absolutely love. We are losing some really great books. My hope is we will make that everything is, everything is cyclical, but we come back to things. We race over here to the fast fashion hurry hobby, like fast fashion hurry hobby. Right now I feel like every hobby is a hurry hobby. Hurry, let's get the click, let's get the like, let's put it out there. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't want a hurry hobby. I want something that I love, something that I enjoy, something that is relaxing to me. And I know that may not be everything for you guys. And I get that. This video right now, you might be snoozing already. You're like, this is boring. I'm out of here. And I'm like, I know. I wish I had more to show you. But I learned that. The rush to print, like we are over consuming on a lot of things. And I do that too. And I'm okay with it. I really am. I just consume these books because these are the ones that I like. Again, it's been going on in my brain the last couple of weeks as I've been working on this, talking to people and trying to do a little bit of research. That thought keeps coming back into my brain that we have lost the art of art. And that is really sad. Hey, I think AI is great. I don't want everything AI. AI can be fun. It's instrumental. It's moving at of the speed of lightning. The things that can be done that we would have never thought possible, the amount of production that it does, what it has done to the medical field, what it has done for the customer service field, the things that it has done for many, many fields. And I know that is hugely controversial, but AI has been in the background now for about 5 to 6 years. The career that I retired from, I relied heavily on AI on the back end of my production and for what I did in my job and in my career, my job, whatever you want to call it. It's been here for a long time. It's just now coming out to the full masses. And we are losing the art of art. We are losing the art of relaxation. We are losing the art of appreciation. We're losing the art of calmness. We're losing the art of reflection. That, to me, is the harder part. The harder part isn't the paper. It's not the product. It's not this. It's not that. It's what this imparts, what this invokes, what happens to the depth of our soul, to our mind, to our brain, when you hold whatever medium you're working with in your hand and you're putting it to that paper. What are you experiencing? What is that energy? What are you invoking from you, and you're impeding that onto the paper? What does the paper give back to you? What does your experience give back to you? Whether you're someone who sits and colors with a candle and wine or some whiskey or tea or coffee, an energy drink, are you listening to a podcast? Are you listening to a book? For me, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this. I am a junkie. When I say junkie, absolute junkie. It's killing me right now not to be listening to one of the big trials that's going on. I love to listen to court. That's my thing. I love to hear trials. That's my heart. That's my love. That's my joy. So I will put on a really good court case and I will do and I will be. And then there are times I just put on music or I might put on a book. What is it that this brings to you? What joy do you bring to the paper, and what does the paper bring to you? And whether we're on Amazon paper that some of us poo-poo down to, or we're on the very best of 150 grams of pounds of cardstock and everywhere in between, it's more about what's in our mind, what's in our heart, what's in our soul. How do we come to this hobby? How do we come to this with an appreciation for whatever it is that we can come to it with? Well, let's see, the last one. We don't understand the cost that goes into these. And even though I thought I understood it until I actually heard from her and everything, I truly didn't appreciate it. I will tell you this much. I appreciate these books far more than I did, say, a couple of weeks ago. When the new book from Hanna comes out, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy 2 of them. I'm just going to straight out buy 2 of them and call it done. And you know what I'm going to do? Well, in a year from now, because we won't get it for another year. Well, year and a half, whatever. The minute I get that book, yeah, I'm going to share it with you guys because it's always fun. I know there's a million channels. We all share it. I don't care. I'm going to share it because it's fun. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to love that book. I am going to get in there and I'm going to color it, and I'm not going to be afraid of it. Whether I color beautifully or not beautifully, I don't care. I want to have fun. Now, it's almost an hour. I hope that I have given all the information that they gave to me. So I'm going to go over it really fast. Permission to publish comes from the main publisher, Pagania. It's Pagina Group AB. I'll try to drop it down in the description box. They are out of Stockholm, Sweden, and then from there, each country or representative or whoever, they go to them to get those print rights, and then that's when they get their contract. So we basically, from conception of the artist, they have to conceive and the concept that they have for the book. Then they have to create the book. Then contracts, all the contracts, the contract between the illustrator and the publishing houses, all of that has to be negotiated out. Then there's the curation. So it's basically the 4 C's of the coloring community. We have our 4 C's when it comes to our favorite gemstones. Well, we've got the 4 C's in the coloring community. We have, again, the concept, the creation, the contracts, the curation that this brings to us. I'm going to make sure that I don't lose my appreciation for these books. At any rate, I hope this hasn't been boring. I hope that this has been helpful. Right now, this does not look like it's going to come back. This isn't going to come back. This one's not going to come back. Sprit Animal is not going to come back. And pretty much I'm going to go out on a limb and say that these aren't coming back either. I've not specifically been told that. However, no news is not good news on this front. When there is no news, that means it's not good news. So these are no longer. So all I can say is go buy the birds, go buy the gnomes, go buy the the birds, the gnomes, and the gremlins, I think is what it is. I don't know what to say for this one. I don't know. But for Hanna or for Maria Toile, I only have 1 book, I think, from Maria. All I can say is when you buy your book, enjoy your book, love your book, have fun with your book, and maybe don't be afraid to go buy another one after you've colored through it. So if you have any questions, if there's something I didn't address, if something popped up, drop it down into comments. I will do my best. My life is starting to come back together again. I'm starting to be able to come and do things a little bit better than what I have been. I do have 6 weeks coming up of a bathroom remodel. I will go over that later, but yes. But at any rate, if you have questions, anything like that, drop it down in the comments. And as always, wishing you the sharpest of pencils, the brightest and juiciest of markers. And it's just paper, friends. Sometimes there's plenty of it out there and sometimes there's not. But the best thing that we can do is find the paper that gives us the greatest and best joy to love our coloring time. Till next time, bye-bye.